Things continue with Cain being summoned to the place where Magna officially hands him over the key and map to his new mansion that comes with his barren title. Young Cain excitedly thanks him as the old man explains that the king's absence is because he had a meeting with someone the monarch still wanted to meet him to play a game of reverse, but the Magna held him back and managed to convince him to tend to his first duty. Cain is a little relieved to hear this, as it means that he will be able to go home earlier. However, his plan to have a quiet one is ruined when Duke Eric interrupts there, meaning to challenge him to a game of reversey given his position. Cain can't deny his request. This opens Pandora's box as Magna and other nobles express their willingness to play him after the Duke. After entertaining everyone, he follows the map and arrives at his new home and discovers it in a decrepit state, which he finds a bit disappointing from the outside off. The windows are broken. Plants have even conquered the main gate and other parts. As he approaches the front door, he hopes that nothing pops up to attack him. Cain excuses himself before entering. The place is dusty and the lights are not functioning. He assumes that the magic stones are depleted, so he uses a light bulb to illuminate the place while he continues with his inspection and is impressed by the size and simplicity. He uses his overwhelming magical ability to instantly clean and repair the whole mansion. Everything is restored to a brand new state, after which he lays down in his room for a moment to take in the fact that everything within his scope of vision belongs to him. His thoughts are interrupted when So calls to tell him that they have arrived. He comes down to show his appreciation for her following him to his new house. The new headmaid is honored that he asked her to come, even confessing that she cried with the help of her team. She promises to work hard exclusively for him. His butler, Colin, also introduces himself. He is there on the recommendation of Cain's family's longtime butler. Colin reveals that he has heard all of the amazing feats his new master has performed, but the boy tries to downplay it. Sylvia orders her maids to start cleaning the place, but they quickly realize that the whole residence has been cleaned to a high level. Colin is surprised when Sylvia takes it normal that Cain already cleaned the mansion with magic. He wonders how he managed to do that. Sylvia then informs her master that they will finish packing his personal belongings into the new house. The butler reiterates the maid's sentiments and suggests that he makes his way back to his old home and reminds him that his older brothers are at the house. He rushes there to meet them, and they are impressed to see that their younger brother has been granted a peerage and a mansion before them. His sister is more excited to see his mansion, but the brothers try to scare her by pointing out that since the mansion is run down, it might have ghosts. It startles her a little, but she is confident that Cain will protect her. He just assures her that nothing scary will appear. Along with his sister, Cain's parents later come to visit their son's new house. They are surprised to see that it's not run down, but rather sparkling. His mother comments that it's like a brand new house. His father is a little confused because he is sure that it was dilapidated and falling apart when he came a few years ago. Cain confesses that he did a little remodeling and cleaning using magic. The tour of the place continues, and they are blown away by the standard he managed to renovate it to. While going around, Gar noticed the lack of artwork around the house. Cain wasn't aware it needed some. His father explains that nobles are fond of our work, and as such they decorate their mansions with them to express this love. Things like painting Voss's armor, and in some cases mounted monsters are the norm. The mounted monsters is what catches Cain's attention. He soon tells his family that he has put one up. A sudden scream from Sylvia's Joel to everyone. Garm suspects an enemy attack and rushes to the scene with his son. The servants point at the dragon statue that Cain erected on his father's recommendation. He forgot to tell them that he put it up. Even his father is shocked by the sight and wonders why he has such a thing. He confesses that he defeated it in battle. Garm can't believe what he's hearing. He reveals that a red dragon is a calamity-class monster. He adds that it's doubtful if a party of a rank adventurers can take down the creature. If so, it would be a very close battle, and some members are not coming back alive. Hearing this surprised Cain, as it was so easy for him to defeat his father, just advises him to explain to his maids in the future. He closes the hype with the statement that a mounted red dragon is worth 1,000 platinum coins. I did some currency conversion, and that comes into just over $70 million. Garm feels like this statement piece is enough to compensate for the lack of art around the house. Their conversation is interrupted by another scream. They rush over and it's his mother. She is startled by the sprayer installed in the toilet. The dad is interested to see what the hype is all about. He uses it, and they all love it, so he wants them to be installed in their home too. His dad feels like his guests will enjoy it, which confuses Cain. He enlightens his son that he must throw a party to debut his new mansion, as it's an unwritten rule among the nobles. Later that night, Cain sits in his study with Sylvia and Kalan. He's a little stressed about throwing the party, but his butler comes in clutch and tells him that he has made a list of the people he's to invite and the things that he would need. Since he's a lower-ranked noble, he can't send an invite to the king, as that would be rude. As for hospitality, Sylvia suggests that he should present his unique form. Instead of trying to do it the traditional way over the coming days, he makes special glass cups never seen before in the world. To be used by the guests, they will also double as gifts. They will also double as gifts for the nobles to take home. They move to the food and drink. Next, he gives his private chef a recipe to make Hamburg steak dish. Later, Sylvia is called to taste it, and she can't believe how delicious the meal is. She chases it down with the sparkling happy juice and can't believe how much the fizz pairs with the meat. She has never seen a drink with these properties in her life. He explains that he used magic to make regular wine fizzy since he isn't yet of age. He wants her to tell him if the bubbles are too strong. The mate uses this as an opportunity to indulge in drinks, a few bottles under the guise of tasting, to give feedback. Colin interrupts to inform his master that a messenger has come from the royal palace. He gets summoned by the king, who is flanked by Magna and Duke Eric. Cain is already intimidated that the heavy hitters are all in the room. The king gives him an intense glance before he begins to complain that he has not received an invitation to his mansion debut party. The Duke and Magna have been rubbing their invitation in his face, and he's not happy. You can tell that this one cut deep, because he points out that he's the one that gave him the mansion. While waiting to him, Eric reminds the king that only high-ranking nobles can invite him to their mansions. The monarch gets teary-eyed as he continues that he's Cain's father-in-law. Cain calms him down and gives an apology and explanation before personally handing him over an invitation. This makes the king happy as he rubs it in the other two's faces. He heads back to his mansion to tell his staff that the king will be attending, which shocks them. They are a little confused till he reveals to them that the third Princess Celestia and the Duke's daughter are his fiancée. The maids scream in shock. He is counting on them to make His Royal Highness feel welcome. The night of the party has come, and the nobles get addressed as they arrive at the mansion. They all seem to be impressed with the red dragon that Cain defeated. With everyone gathered, Cain gives his welcome speech. His guests cheer whilst taking a sip, before commenting on how lovely it tastes. Even his father is taken aback by the beverage. Cain explains how he used water magic to chill it. Eric interjects to praise the food as well. Everyone's attention is taken when the king makes his entrance with the queen and Celestia. He orders them all to get back to their pleasant chats. He sits at his table and is immediately served with a drink. He is fascinated by the glass and poetically comments on its beauty. He then takes a sip of the content and is even more excited as the bubbles pop in his mouth. He's served with a Hamburg steak, and it impresses the taste palate of royalty. The king brings all the elements he likes and asks Telestra for her opinion, and she likes it too. The queen disturbs a little to point out the sprayer in the toilet. The king is interested to see what all the fuss is about. He uses it and loves it to the point where he orders Cain to install it in the palace. He is deeply moved by everything he has experienced since entering the house. The king gives him the highest praise, stating that he has the ultimate hospitality. Everyone is amazed that he has been given such a compliment, and it begins to clap for young Cain. Cullen pull his master to the side to inform him that Corgino has arrived. He makes his way to the entrance to welcome the high-ranking noble Corgino, thanks Cain for the invitation, but uses the chance to take a shot at his mansion, comparing it to a doghouse. As he makes his way inside, Cullen goes to warn him about the mounted monster so that he doesn't get startled. But Cain stops his butler. They join him as he screams in fear. The host apologizes for not informing him. As he continues to insult Cain while walking into the hall, he begins to take shots at the attendees, and from their reaction, they too are not a fan of him. As he gets served his drink, he complains that it's too noisy. The high-ranked noble already starts to look down on the drink before tasting it. When he takes a little sip, he is surprised by how nice and unique it tastes. But he tries to downplay it. He is next served the food and loves it. But by saying it's disgusting, he continues to behave rudely. Cullen pleads with his master to relax, since Corgino is a marquis, to calm him down. Cain brings out some of the glass cups as an offering, but Corgino wants all of them. Despite being told that the attendees are to take some home too, he also wants the recipe for the food pronto. By the time he's ready to leave, Kane politely refuses, which only angers the Marquis, who begins to reprimand him, but he stands firm till the king comes. The monarch catches Corgino behaving rudely. The king puts him in his place and swore to never to repeat such behavior, and tells him that he might have fallen out of favor with this display. All Corgino does is apologize and scurry off. Silk goes over to Kane, informing him that she knows he set it up so that the king can see Corgino for who he is. The monarch overhears them and pulls Kane to the side to let him know he's not a fan of his manipulation, which makes Duke and his daughter laugh. The king later calls him to the palace where he berates him. Some more that brings the episode to an end.